So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. If you can, if you're in a place where you can turn on your video, that would be amazing, just so I know that you're here and so we can also make it interactive. We've got a small group today, but it's a really good opportunity to also answer any questions that you have specific to the program or generally about Catalysr or some of our kind of work that we're doing. So just to give you a bit of background, I'm Usman. I'm the CEO of Catalysr. We are an organization that supports migrant, refugee, international student entrepreneurs that are based in Australia. We have been running since 2016, so we're coming up to our 10th year at this stage. And our focus has always been to support people who come from different backgrounds, different cultures, who want to learn about how to start their own business in Australia. Our focus has predominantly been in kind of two key, I guess, broader sectors. So one I would say is tech and anything kind of tech related, and the other one is social impact. So if you want to start a social enterprise, for example, that's another area that we look at. And in terms of this program specifically, Melbourne Migrapreneurs, the focus and I guess the history of this program is this is kind of the third year that we're running this program in collaboration with City of Melbourne. And the reason why we're doing it in City of Melbourne or in the kind of Melbourne area is because we have identified that there's a lot of migrants, a lot of refugees, international students that are kind of based within Melbourne. And my assumption is that many of you will be coming from Melbourne and joining us from Melbourne as well. And so we identified this opportunity in collaboration with City of Melbourne to try and support you guys in learning about, how do you actually start your own startup. And over the last couple of years, we've also further refined the program. We've got another partner organization called Arctic 90 that is also joining us, that is helping in helping some of these startups that have made further progress. And so if you've read the kind of website and looked at how the program runs, essentially it is into two different stages. So the first stage is you can call it ideation, where it's about you coming in with an idea or at least a startup, where you're trying to understand how to build a startup and also get the right community amongst each other. And so we do these workshops on different topics, and you can see them on the website from ideation, human-centered design, fundraising, marketing, storytelling, different topics. And the goal of those workshops is to get you to understand the basics on how do you start a startup in Australia. Once you go through that first couple of months programming, then some of you will obviously progress with your ideas and go further. And that's where we have the validation program, which is run by Arctic 90. So that includes a lot of intensive mentoring and support. We've also got some grants as well that help people. So at this stage, you've got 4 grants of $1,000 each that will help entrepreneurs that are going through the program. Plus, we've got other opportunities that come up in terms of kind of supporting you beyond the program as well. So we have got an active alumni community of about 1,200 people across the country who've gone through various programs that Catalysr runs. And so that's another opportunity for you to kind of get involved in other programs and also just get supported by us generally as a part of the alumni community. So that's just, I guess, a very broad, overarching introduction to the program. In terms of specifics on, who the program is for, so the obvious things in terms of eligibility that, again, you might have already seen. But fundamentally, it is for people that are based in Melbourne. And the reason why it's that focus obviously is A, because it's supported by City of Melbourne as our partner, but also because the program is running a hybrid format. So some workshops are run in person in our office at Store and Chalk in Melbourne, which is close to the city. And the other workshops are run online, which you can participate from anywhere. But we want you to be based in Melbourne so that you can actually participate in those in-person workshops as well. It is for founders that are early stage. So if you're already running your startup and have been going for a few years, then this might be too early or too basic for you. But if you are an early stage founder or just getting started or have been running your startup for a little while, then you can really go through this program and learn a lot on how to start a startup, but more importantly, how do you find the right community and people who can help you build your startup as well. And so you don't need to have everything figured out just yet. Even if you're just curious, you've got ideas and you want to build something, this is a really good starting point for you as an early stage founder who wants to start something. So that's I guess that's just something to keep in mind. In terms of, I guess, the key topics I've already mentioned, there's a few different things that we cover. And happy to kind of go into detail if anyone has any specific questions. One thing that we also offer alongside those workshops is coaching. So we do have one-on-one coaching to support you because we realize that there's a lot of, I guess, information and knowledge that exists on the internet. Obviously, there's a lot that we can cover in our own workshops, but still, many of you would have specific ideas and would need support in coaching to kind of progress those ideas to make them into startups. And so we provide that coaching as a way to help you kind of understand the content, but also figure out how do you actually apply it into your business so you can kind of go forward. And then you've also got access to the community. So people that are in this program, plus we will have the broader community of mentors and our kind of alumni that I mentioned previously. So what we normally do is we set a WhatsApp group where all of you who are part of the program will be a part of that group. Plus, we will add you to our national Slack community, which is then all the alumni, mentors, different people as well. And on top of all of this, we also run events. So we invite people to connect with each other, to kind of our broader ecosystem of partners, mentors, supporters. And that's a really good chance for you to kind of further build your networks, especially as migrants who are coming into the country. Oftentimes you're new or you don't have access to the right networks, whether it's sort of with funders or with different potential customers. And so to be able to kind of network broadly is a really good way for you to actually embed yourself in the ecosystem. So yeah, that's just something to kind of keep in mind. You again might have seen that already on the website, but in terms of the key dates for this program, we have applications that are closing on the 22nd of April. So some of you who are joining, you might have already applied, which is fantastic. You don't have to do anything else at this stage. But if you haven't applied and you're still thinking, feel free to ask any questions that I'm happy to help you. But yeah, we want to make sure that you apply by the 22nd. We'll make decisions about who gets accepted in the following week. So we can let you know essentially a couple of weeks in advance of the program starting. And the program itself will kick off on the 12th of May. And it will go till the end of June, which is the kind of first stage, the ideation program. And then for validation sprint, that's going to go from June to September. So for some of you who are kind of progressing in that stage, we'll kind of give you more information as you get to that point. In terms of commitment and expectation, that's a question that oftentimes people ask on, how much time should I commit, or like what's the attendance requirement and things like that. So the answer is always, as much as possible, because the goal is this is a program really run for you, and so you can utilize the opportunity is to basically maximize your participation, go to as many of the workshops and both online and in person. For us, the minimum requirement for you so that you can actually, be considered as a graduate or alumni, 80%. So at least showing up to 80% of the workshops and kind of other sessions. And again, the goal is that it's not purely just a learning program like university, but really this is so that you can learn about how do you build your business in Australia. So the more you can interact with each other, the more you can learn with each other as a community, the better you will be in terms of kind of progressing your ideas. So it's not a passive learning opportunity where you'll sit back and kind of listen. It's more an opportunity for you to kind of connect with each other and learn from each other as well. And essentially you will get out whatever you put in terms of energy and effort and time. So although there's kind of basic commitment, I guess, expectations, we would love for you to kind of show up and be more active. And fundamentally, City of Melbourne is supporting this program financially to kind of help run it. And so this is a great opportunity for many of you to kind of participate in something without really putting in, paying for it in a big way. We do have a small cost associated with it, and that's just a commitment fee that we charge you. So the actual cost per participant is a lot higher, but we charge participants about $100 for the whole program, and we call it a commitment fee. And the reason is so that you feel there's a bit of skin in the game. Again, it's a small amount, but it's just something to get you financially invested into the program. And for anyone who has financial hardship, we've also got scholarships available, so you can just put in a check mark as a part of the application and say, look, I'm applying for a scholarship. Give us a couple of sentences on why. And we're happy to kind of offer that and waive that fee as well. Because the goal for us is like we don't want to create any barriers for you financially, but we just want to make sure that you actually feel invested, even if it's with a little bit of amount. It's more psychological than anything else. But yeah, fundamentally, this program exists so it can help you connect within the ecosystem. If you are a migrant or refugee or international student, you already know this, that it's quite hard to break into the ecosystem, whether that's in terms of kind of networks or contacts, but also in finding the right people at the right time who can help you, who've already gone through the journey, sometimes have made the mistakes. And so people learn a lot from each other. They learn a lot from our alumni that kind of come in and talk about their experiences as a part of the program, and just their business in general. But fundamentally, how we see ourselves as connectors. So what you learn from the program and what you take away is not just the knowledge, but also an opportunity to connect into networks that are beyond Catalysr, so you can progress your ideas and progress your startup as well. So that's at a high level, a bunch of information to kind of get you to, I guess, think about the program and get involved. But I would love to kind of open the floor to you. If you've got any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Either type it in the chat or come off mute if you've got any specific questions that you want to ask. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you.
Hey, Asman. Nice to meet you again. Yeah, thank you for running the session. So you said for Catalyzer, we have a lot of different workshops running throughout the year, and definitely attending as many as you can. We can get as much out of it as well. So in terms of like the workshops, how does it work? Like, is it like set the date and then you kind of just join and then kind of go from there? Yeah, just wondering like what's the structure like?
Great question. So with this program in specific, we've got the program running from the 12th of May to the 30th of June in terms of our workshops. And the workshops themselves are going to be on Tuesday nights, which is why 12th of May, because that's the first one. And so every Tuesday, there's going to be a workshop. They are run after hours because we're mindful that some people have uni or work or other things they're doing. So we do it after 5. Mostly around 6 p.m. is kind of when we workshop start and goes to about 7:30, 8 p.m. As I said, it's a hybrid program, so some workshops are going to be in person at Stone and Chalk, which is kind of quite a central location in the city. It's easy to get to from Southern Cross Station if you're kind of traveling by public transport, or you can also park after hours in the city. It's not that hard. And then the other workshops that are online will happen on Zoom like this. And the reason why we're doing hybrid is so we can connect with each other in person, some of the workshops so you can learn from each other, but then also when we do it online means that we can bring in alumni and other mentors that are national or something even international as well, which is hard to do obviously in an in-person setting. So they'll run weekly on Tuesday nights from the 12th of May till the 30th of June. And there's different topics that I mentioned that you can kind of go through. They're listed on the website, but essentially things like how do you start a startup? So lean startup, design thinking type of background, understanding your competition, prototyping, building an MVP, business models. How do you build your team and your culture? Pitching and storytelling, which is quite important when you're trying to raise capital specifically, fundraising, and not just kind of from VCs, but other types of funding as well in Australia, and sort of learning how to do that. So there's a few different topics that we cover, and the goal really is so that you can learn from not just from us as facilitators, but also from the community and see what they're doing and what they're finding success in. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question about the kind of schedule of the workshops, what it covers, but happy to answer anything more specific if you have.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good that all the workshops, like you said, it's run after 5, and being full-time work myself as well. I think like I definitely should have time to kind of attend in person as well. I think like in the connection as well, and then being in the environment as well. I think I've been to the Stone and Chalk place. It's very nice, and it's great community there as well. Yeah. And so, like you said, it's kind of like a chronological order for the workshops, starting from like the ideal stage, like forming the ideas, all the way to fundings and pitching. Like, I'm assuming that's kind of the order of the workshops, starting from
Yeah,
May. Is that correct?
absolutely. That's right. And as you apply and you get accepted into the program, what we normally do is we send you a program overview, which has
Yep.
all the specific details on this is which workshop is happening on what date, who's the speaker and facilitator, what you need to do, if anything, to prepare for the workshop, but more importantly, just going to show up, whether that's online or in person, to kind of learn.
Yep.
But yeah, we have kind of some content and workbooks and things like that that we normally give you through our online learning management system, so you can watch it in your own time. But then also there's a lot that's covered in the live workshop, whether that's online or in person. But yeah, it is in chronological order. So starting with how do you form your idea, ideation, prototyping, building MVP, all the way to then building your business and your team, financials, business models, and then raising capital. So it's just trying to make sure that you are kind of going in that sequence. And we do it because we know that I mean, you can start with fundraising first, but to do fundraising, you need to have an idea.
Mm.
And you need to have some structure around it. You need to have a business model. You need to do a bunch of thinking before you go to, for example, fundraising. So that's why the workshop was set in that order. And as I mentioned, we've been running Catalysr for 10 years, and we've experimented with the kind of order and model and all the different types of workshops. And with this specific program as well, we've had a lot of feedback. And we'll hope that people that are going to this program will also provide us with that feedback through surveys and other interviews for us to really know what works, what doesn't work, what's the right order of things, what's the valuable information. Sometimes it's what's too much or what's too little. So we're constantly trying to kind of improve and adapt with that as well. But as you probably know, and many people would know, that when you go through any programs, the goal of these workshops is to kind of give you enough information so you know where to get started. But
Mhm.
it's then this is an opportunity for you to then go deeper and learn about those topics, but also go through those one-on-one coaching sessions, so that you can understand how do you apply that in your own context, right? So learning about how to build a prototype, for example, is great, but then understanding how do you build a prototype for your specific startup, that's where that coaching really comes in, because then, a coach or a facilitator can ask you questions around, what are you already doing? What have you tested? What have you tried? Give you some ideas and suggestions. And so that coaching element is really, I guess, complementary to the workshops. And that coaching is provided by a few different people. I'm one of them. We've got Sakshi, who's one of our alumni, Roberto, who's another one of our mentors for about 5 years, that help provide that coaching. And the coaching happens online as well. We've set up Calendly links that people can book in time with us as coaches throughout the program. So when you need that help for different topics or just generally for your startup, we're there to kind of help you progress, and provide you advice and coaching as well.
Yeah. And just a quick question. So the coaching, is that separated from the workshop?
Yeah, that's
Like
separate.
you book it, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I think that answers most of my questions, and yeah, definitely looking forward to see everything in person. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks for your questions. Um, does anyone else have any other questions that you want to ask? Either everything is really clear or you guys are very shy. You don't need to be shy, totally fine. The goal here is so that you can understand and get as much information as you can out of this, so you feel clear about the program. No question is stupid, no question is wrong. If you've missed something, that's also fine, but do ask, because that's a good way for you to kind of learn what is involved, what the commitment is, what you can do if you're a part of the program, things like that. But yeah, happy to answer any other questions. And if you also feel bit hard to kind of ask the question online, you can also type it in the chat, and then I can answer that question as well. Hi, Samit. I think you've come off mute. Do you have a question?
Okay, yeah. My question is that you mentioned about building MVP, right? So while building MVP, we gonna need some of the paid tools for that. Okay, if we are building any app or something tech related. Okay, so do we have any provisions for free tiers of these tools so that we don't need to pour in money from our pocket, something like that? You can suggest.
That's a really great question. Thank you for asking that, Summit. We what we do normally is we've got with many of the startup tools that are out there, or many, I guess, of the I guess different apps and things like that. They've got their startup tiers and they've got the startup subscriptions. Oftentimes at incubators we can access those. So for example, I'll give you an example: HubSpot, I know AWS and things like that, where you can get those credits. And then we can get the credit and we can pass those on to you as startups. So we've got a few of those deals and perks already got, as a part of our, I guess, our database. But as you know, particularly with AI tools, every day there's new tools that are being launched and there's a lot of things that are coming up. So oftentimes what happens is, for example, Claude might launch something, or OpenAI or someone else might launch something new, which is for startups. They give access to a lot of credits and opportunities for us as incubators. So whenever we identify those opportunities, we'll try and kind of make them available. If you see an opportunity for some of those tools, and you say, well, like you want to demonstrate that you're a startup, either we can help you access those tools by basically applying as an incubator and then giving it to the whole cohort, or if you want to like prove that you're a startup, we can give you a letter or any paperwork that you need also to get access to that kind of startup tier. Because oftentimes that startup tier is either free or really cheap, which helps you to build got an initial MVP. So it's a really great question. We provide that, like through our Droid resource database, a bunch of these tools and things. But then, where they're missing, we can help you either directly if there's that opportunity, or otherwise through, like where we can get a deal for everyone, because that just means that everyone can benefit. So if you do see something that, we already have access to, super easy, you can kind of use the promo codes and things like that. If you don't have access to that, through our kind of database, then you can ask us and we can help, reach out to them, make that available for you as well.
Cool. Thank you for that. Thanks.
No problem. Thanks for asking that. Some
No problem.
awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions? Hi, Summer, do you have a question?
No, sorry.
That's all good. I see you've joined twice, so I thought you had a question. That's why you were off mute. Awesome. Well, if you don't have any other questions, that's all good. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your time. Hopefully this gives you a bit more context of the program, but you can find a lot of information, particularly around the frequently asked questions that are on our website on catalysr.com.au/Melbourne. If you have applied, fantastic. If you haven't applied yet, please do apply. And we try to make sure that we accept as many people as possible, because the goal here is to give you an opportunity as a migrant or an international student or refugee entrepreneur who's trying to learn, who's trying to break into the ecosystem. And our goal is to try to build an inclusive community so we can provide as many of you that opportunity as possible. So please do apply. We've tried to keep the form really simple as well. But if you have any questions or if you're having any difficulty, you can always ask us and we're happy to help you answer any other questions. I think you all have access to our email, but if in any case you don't, I'll put that in the chat as well. It's hello@catalysr.com.au. So it's just simple, just reach out to us with any other question that you have in between now and the application. If you are having any difficulty with anything, any program related element, any application related element, we are happy to help you there. But thank you for your time. Wishing you all a wonderful weekend, and hopefully looking forward to seeing many of you as a part of the program. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. See ya. Bye.
Thank you, Asman. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.